Okay, slightly lazier video today. It's August 18th. I'll just go through and give a few updates. The first thing of note is that the let pot is actually gone. I finally retired it and now sits in my closet. I'm not sure if or when it will ever get use again, but I was just sick and tired of the thing, and so I have now taken it out of commission. Now, as for the peppers that were in there, I was originally going to throw them out, but then I actually noticed when I went to go do that it was remarkably easy to strip the sponge away. And so what I wound up doing, I called up a friend. We took the let pot down to my campus community garden. UVic runs one. We then took every single plant out, stripped the sponge away, repotted them, and then gave them away. There's this little donor table they have set up. You can stick plants there. So I did that, and then I was kind of dreading that the things were going to die, and so not even a day later, I went back to give them some water, and then lo and behold, they were gone. So somebody has taken them already, and with any luck, given them a better home than I ever could. So it's a bit sad. It's an end of an era, and these things were helpful for the germination, but just in hindsight, I should have never bought it. These plants grow way too damn big, and I really honestly should have been doing the mason jar thing from the off. Now, on that note, I will show you the kratkies here. I've been dealing with the root binding problem all week, and they are looking a good amount happier here. So there's some new oxygen growth, as you can see. And then this chocolate reaper actually had a bit of a bizarre issue. All of these roots seemed to have hardened, so they're a little bit crinkly to the touch, I guess. But there is some new white growth coming through on there as well. But what I'm noticing is that looking at the bottom of this, there's next to no nutrient solution, and it's only a very small portion that is submerged in that, and there's next to none. And so I think that means that over the coming days, I'm going to have to finally retire these mason jars. And so I'm going to use the deep water culture buckets that I have back here, put some duct tape over the little holes that originally held the air stone. And then I think I'm just going to phase these things out entirely and then just put them elsewhere, because I think the mason jars are just way too small. Again, it's like a hindsight 2020 thing, but now I know, and I learned the hard way so that you don't have to. The only other thing of note with these things is that there are a bunch of new flowers coming in, and they actually seem comparatively a good amount happier. So this guy's got a bunch of upright petals. Previously, they kind of drooped downwards. And another thing that I discovered is that I was pollinating them all wrong, because I used to take my finger here and then just rub it all along the flower, like specifically on the black and white bits, and then that would just cause the female bit that receives pollen to snap off, and then the flower would just die later on. But I found out I've almost been doing it like I'm lighting a match. So on the little black side here, I'm not sure how visible this is, I'm just taking my finger and lightly striking it against the side, and then that seems to release the pollen without risking any damage to the main female part that actually causes the thing to start turning into a pepper. So happy with that, and I am hoping that some of these guys do turn into peppers over the coming weeks. I'm just going to keep doing the little match thing with them, and with any luck, hopefully they'll begin to blossom, or whatever the term is. But yeah, there you go. Let's get the camera back in focus and then move over to the deep water cultures. So these guys are doing pretty happy. I did a full nute swap recently, and you'll notice here that there is actually some light staining that's coming up on the roots, but it doesn't seem to be a big deal. I've looked at it, and it all in all seems to be quite happy. You can see a couple of new little pinpricks coming off on the side there. So they're not dead by any stretch. It was just some light staining, but all in all, they're still very healthy, happy looking roots. Now this is probably the worst of the bunch after that. This one's doing second best, I would say. There's a bunch of new white growth coming in, and I'd say the top looks better than the bottom. And then the third one over here actually has a bunch of little feathery growth at the top there. And so I think that this was just some moderate growing pains that happened from the nutrient swap. EC probably went up a fair bit, and so it's just kind of struggling a bit from that. But I picture over time, this should improve itself, and it will be better. It's just a little moderate thing that happened. But importantly, it doesn't seem like the rot is coming back. It's just some staining that you would expect out of anything, really. So that more or less does it for the updates. All in all, a lot of shifts around, but things seem to be pretty happy. And I would say compared to last week, things feel a good amount more stable. Like I really wanted to confirm that this thing wouldn't get, rot again the moment that I changed out the nutrients. And so far that doesn't seem to be happening. There was just some light staining, but it's getting adequate oxygenation and overall seems to be quite happy. So I guess I'll cut things off there. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you whenever I get around to making another one of these.